Hello there, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for your monthly forecast for the month of May. Just want to go over some things really quick so that you guys know what we're looking at. First of all, this is not a comprehensive look at the whole month. What I am looking at is one theme that you're working on at some point during the month. I'm actually technically looking at one particular life cycle, and we all have several different life cycles that we go through. And usually they will tend to overlap. So you could have a life cycle in love, in work, in family. A life cycle basically just sets us up to either learn something or experience something. And as we learn that lesson or experience that experience, then as we incorporate that into our lives more fully, we come to the end of the life cycle or the fulfillment of the life cycle, and we get ready to graduate on to the next life cycle. So that's what I'm looking at here is a life cycle. I'm looking at the setup, the lesson or the experience, and then the fulfillment of the life cycle as you incorporate that lesson or experience. So, like I said, this is not comprehensive. This is not going to be giving you a heads up of all the major things that are happening for the month, but it will highlight one of the major themes for you. Okay, so let's get on with your monthly reading. Hello there, Gemini. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly insight for the month of May. So, what we have coming up, first of all, talks to me about your environment, and your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Most of the time I do see it come up as home. Every once in a while I see it show up as school or as work, but just any place where you have energy or effort invested. And what I'm seeing about your environment is that looks like you may be taking a little bit of a break from your environment right now. Like there are some improvements that need to be made. To me, it feels like some of you Geminis have been working on those improvements and you've kind of just stepped back and you're just taking a break, sort of getting a breather, knowing that you're going to come back and keep working on those improvements later. Maybe some of you are repainting your house and you've decided, you know what, I want to just enjoy a little bit of time for myself, or maybe you're going on vacation and you know when you come back you're going to have to finish that job up. That's just an example, but there's something about your environment that you're taking a break from. The break is just temporary. You're going to be coming back to whatever that is that you've been working on in your environment already. Next, what I'm looking at is having to do with your subconscious leanings during this theme in the month. And I feel like you are trying to figure out how to get some kind of new start for yourself. And Geminis, this feels like a big deal. This feels like a new start for like your whole life. So this may be that you want to move to a completely different place. This may be that you want to have a whole new job. This may be that you want to be working in a whole new industry and you just want to, I really have the feeling of just starting from scratch, like you want to leave everything behind and just move forward. For some of you, this has to do with, I think your subconscious is working on, is it a good idea to file bankruptcy and start over financially from scratch? So for some of you, it's coming in that way, but for others of you, it is about moving. It's about doing some different kind of work, some different kind of job. Subconsciously, you're working on how can I make that happen in my life? How can I get this new start? And this new start, like I said, it feels big. It feels like it really touches every part of your life. The other way that this could be coming in is in relationship too. You may be feeling like the relationship that you're in is it needs a whole new start. Maybe you want to just like wipe away some old stuff and start over all over again from scratch with that too. So lots of different ways that that's going to be manifesting for you, Geminis, but it does have a significant feel to it. I think this is going to be kind of a big deal once it goes from subconscious to actually happening. Let's see, but right now it's still in your subconscious mind. The next card that I have talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. Learning style, I feel like you're very organized about your learning style. Like you like to start out with the foundational information, you like to think about that, really process it, soak it in, and then build on that. I don't feel like in this particular life cycle, whatever it is that you're learning, I don't feel like you're just going, okay, let me just jump in and just learn as I go. I feel like there's definitely some preparation. There's a very methodical way of learning things here. So whatever it is that you're learning or researching, you're doing it in a very organized fashion. Communication style. I feel like you are, when you're communicating about whatever this life cycle is that we're looking at, whenever you're communicating about it, I feel like you're just hitting the high points. You're just saying what's necessary, and you're not glorifying anything. You're not magnifying anything. If anything, your communication is understated. And really, the only thing that you are going to talk about in this particular life cycle is those things that are positive, is what's coming through here. All right, so next we're going to look at work, and I'm strange with work, so what you need to know is that we could be talking about that way that you're making a living, but we could also be talking about those things that you're doing to improve your own character. Either or, for some of you, this may come through as both. But what I do see is some collaboration with somebody else. This does feel like it's probably creative collaboration, so this is something that is not whatever you're collaborating on is not something that you're just going to find all over the place. This is going to be something that is unique that you are creating with somebody else as far as work goes, if this is work for money. If this is work to improve yourself, when I see collaboration here, this just means that you may be working with some kind of facilitator to make some improvements in yourself. So you may be working with somebody who is helping you with spiritual healing. You may be working with somebody who is some kind of counselor or therapist or psychologist, but you're partnering with somebody to get some inner work done. For those of you that it's coming through as inner work. And like I said, for some of you, it won't come through that way. It'll just come through as financial stuff, you know, how you make your living. For others of you, it will be that inner work. For some of you, it's actually going to be both. And then the other thing that you do need to know is that this is a general reading, so not everything is going to apply to every single Gemini anyway. But most of it will apply to most of you. That's how my agreement with Sacred Spirit on these types of readings. Okay, so the next card that we have talks to me about that part of you that's being grown or expanded right now. And I feel like there's been a lot of just people running their mouths about you, just some of it's true, some of it's not, most of it's not. Most of it's been blown way out of proportion. Maybe a kernel this big of truth and just this much craziness added to that. So where I see that you're growing and expanding right now is recovering from that kind of silliness, recovering from a bunch of gossip, a bunch of people talking stuff that they shouldn't be talking about you. And I see you coming into a place where you're learning how to just keep going with your life in spite of that, how to not let that really affect you or bother you. So that's where you're growing right now. And then let's see. As far as what you're standing for as you go through this particular life cycle, I really feel like you're taking a stand for yourself here. And this is seems a little bit redundant that I'm saying you're taking a stand for yourself when we're talking about what are you standing for. But honestly, this doesn't come up too often. But what I see is you are setting some boundaries for yourself about how much you're going to be helping other people, how much time you're going to be spending on certain things. There's all kinds of different things you can be setting boundaries around for yourself. And these boundaries are really to keep you in a sane, happy, healthy place. Other people may see them as an affront because they're used to you doing all of these other things. And you are coming to a place where you're realizing, you know what, I don't have the energy to do all of these other things and actually have time for me. And if I'm not taking care of me, I can't help anybody else. So this is, I think this is coming to a critical point for you. And so you are setting those boundaries, giving yourself some me time, some space so that you're not continuously just always doing stuff for other people to the point that you can't do the things you need to do for yourself. And I feel like people are coming against you with that. They're saying, you know, oh, surely you can do this. Oh, you've always done this before. Whatever they're saying. I feel like you're saying, you know what? No, I've told you my boundaries. This is the way it is. Step off the curb, Jack, if you don't get it. That's what I feel like you're saying, or that's at least your attitude. You may be saying it more nicely than I am, but probably not. Probably not. It doesn't feel like you really are. All right, so the next card that, at least not most of you, the next card that comes up talks to me about how other people perceive you. And I'm just kind of taking this in and feeling around a little bit. Other people are seeing you as somebody who is very focused on whatever it is that you are reaching for. And that's not a bad thing. But I think that they are twisting the words a little bit. They are saying, oh, well, you don't have any dreams. You're just only going for this one thing, and yada, yada, yada. And trying to be, I feel like they're trying to be a little bit accusatory of you. Normally, I don't have this kind of thing come up on this card where I have that feeling where somebody's actually saying to you what they're thinking, but I've got that. So to me, Geminis, there's somebody significant in your life that's trying to say, well, your dreams aren't big enough. You're not, whatever they're saying. Um, but their perception basically is that you're just very focused on whatever it is you want. It's like, to them, it's like you have blinders on. That's all you can see is that thing that you want. And, it's your choice. If you only want to look at the thing that you want, why not? So anyway, um, I'm feeling like, don't take other people's criticism to heart. It's not personal. It's not even about you. All it is about them. When people see somebody who is really focused on what they want, then it is kind of an implied accusation that they receive to themselves, even though you are, of course, not meaning that, well, I know what you want. How come you don't have it? How come you're not focusing on it? How come you're just kind of scattering your energy all over everywhere? It kind of makes them feel defensive. And so when they feel defensive, they're going to go on the offense to you and try to throw you off track so that then they don't feel like, you know what, I'm not focusing on what I want. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. The next card that we have talks to me about that lesson or experience that you're moving through. Lesson or experience that we have is actually a really good one. This talks about completing a project that not only helps yourself but also helps other people in your environment as well. And people actually coming to you and expressing their gratitude to you for the work that you've put in on this project. Now, I've got to say, Geminis, I don't feel like you were the only person working on this project, but I do feel like you were doing probably 70 to 80% of the work, maybe more. So even though you weren't the only one, I feel like you really were the spearhead person, the one that was propelling this project forward. All right, as we get into fulfillment of the life cycle, oh, we've got some interesting cards here. All right, so the first thing that I see is I see you kind of coming into balance as you are receiving these compliments or these messages of appreciation for other people. I feel like you're starting to recognize how much you actually contribute to where you, for most of you, I think this is for where you work. For some of you, this will have to do with family, a project that helped your family. But you're starting to realize your own importance. And I feel like you never have really realized it in this way before. And so that's the first thing that comes up. The other thing that comes up is that in receiving these compliments, it really helps you face some of the fears that you've had before. And these were pretty big fears. These were things that really kind of got your goat before. And so in having some of these compliments, some of these fears are just kind of dissipated. They just kind of float away. So that's always awesome. And then the next thing that I see coming up is I see you picking up some new responsibility. And I have to tell you, for most of you, this really does have more of a work feel to me than anything else. So for a lot of you, I feel like you're going to be getting a promotion at work. Now, obviously, like I said earlier, general reading. And for some of you, maybe 20%, 15%, this feels like family. So this is new responsibility and family. Usually when we get new responsibilities and family, it doesn't mean we're getting more pay. We're at work when we have new responsibilities. A lot of times, hopefully, it means we're getting more pay. But either way, I do see you picking up some new responsibility, and for those of you that this is playing out in work, I do feel like there will be a raise involved. For those of you who are this is playing out in family, probably not so much a raise involved, but I do feel like you're picking up this new responsibility because of the appreciation that people in the family have for you over this project that you completed that seemed to benefit everybody in the family and not just yourself. Okay, so it's a compliment that people are asking you to pick up this responsibility. And I can hear some of you just being really pessimistic and saying, it's not a compliment to have to do such and such. But really it is. And I've got to tell you, I used to be stationed at Galena Air Base back in the 90s, back when it was still open, and it was a remote site. There was no hospital, there was no shopping mall, there was hardly any people, 350 people, 350 Athabascan Indians that lived off of the base. And um, winter was dark, summer was light. There was not a lot of daylight dark interaction, so that really messed with people's psychology. And so I was told right when I first got to that base by one of my supervisors, he said, this base can really get to you if you let it, or it can be a really great place to be, but it's all about your attitude. So for those of you who are telling me this responsibility is not a compliment, I say this with all respect and in hopes of helping you, please check your attitude. This can be great if you let it be great. All right, so that is the theme that comes up for you, Geminis, for the month of May. Thank you so much for stopping by, hanging out, sharing, liking, subscribing, and commenting. I do appreciate every single one of your support. Everyone have a fantastic, fantastic month, and I will see you all back here the next time. Peace out.